guys, how's it going? It's James here, and it is another tutorial. And today we are looking at iMovie and some of the basics of iMovie, kind of getting through the things that you need to know to get started with iMovie. I will admit that iMovie is probably not the best editing software out there. Programs like Adobe Premiere and Final Cut Pro, those programs are much better suited for the more advanced features. But the reason we're using iMovie today is just to show you really quickly and easily how you can put together a video using it and how easy it is. It's really a great program. Takes all the complicated steps out of video production and just makes it more fun, I would say, to make a video quickly and easily without a lot of technical know-how. So we got iMovie open here, and you can see when it opens, I can see some of the projects I've worked on. And you might get a window that pops up saying get started with iMovie. It depends on what version you're using, but basically you're going to at some point get to a scene or a page that looks similar to this. And I'm going to go to File, New Movie. And iMovie has a lot of these great little pre-made themes built into it, but personally I don't use any of them because it's just so obvious that they were done in iMovie that it's almost kind of become too cliche to use these since so many people already use them in other videos. So we're going to go with no theme, and we're going to hit create. That's going to ask you what you want the name of the movie to be, and I'm going to call this Skateboard. I want to just say right off the hop here that the videos that I'm using for reference inside this particular project are not my own. I've taken them off of YouTube, and I'm basically just making this video for educational purposes only. So I apologize for that, but it's really just to learn the program. Okay, so when we look at the interface of iMovie, and I'm just going to full screen it here, you can see it's pretty basic, straightforward. We've got our projects and our import button up here. We've got our project list along the left side. Right here is where we're going to store all the media that we're going to use in our project. You'll also notice the different tabs for the media, for audio if we got sound, titles, backgrounds, transitions. These are all important things that you'll need to build your movie. Over here we've got the actual preview window for the movie itself, along with some of the effects and features that we can add to our movie clips or our sound clips. We'll be talking about that more as we go here. And down here is your timeline, the most important part, where you actually put it all together. All right, one thing I want to draw your attention to is this little slider right here. Very important little slider. It allows you to zoom in or zoom out of your movie. And as your movie gets longer, you'll realize that you're going to have to start zooming out and only zooming in when you need to edit certain clips of the movie itself. I'll go back into minimize mode here a little bit and start bringing our stuff in. Now, I'm going to click Import Media. You can drag and drop into this window. That works too, but I'm going to use the Import Media button here. And I'm going to find the folder on my desktop. And it is called, oops, desktop, Nike SB commercial. I got my movie clips and my sound. I'm going to bring in all my movie clips just like this and import. Here they go. Nice. Okay. So we got all our video clips that we're going to use for this particular project in here now. And I'm going to arrange them in a certain order as we go here. Source files should be available for download in my description if you want to follow along. We're going to start with this one here, the New York time lapse. Okay, so a nice wide shot that we're starting with here. I'm going to select it. I'm going to click the plus, or I can just hover over it and click the plus when it appears. I'm going to select it and click the plus, and what that's going to do is it's going to move it down into my timeline. So it's telling iMovie that this is the first clip that I want in my movie that I'm creating. All right, so we have added a clip. Now, as I hover over it, it tells me right here that the clip is currently 2.6 seconds long. All right, so that's kind of nice. And you'll also notice up here, it tells us the total length of our movie. So right now it's sitting at 2 seconds. All right, I'm going to add the second clip as well, which is the drone flyby, which is basically just an overview of a skate park. And I'm going to select it and add it in. Now you'll notice we are pretty zoomed in here, so our movie starts to go off the page. We have to scroll over to see it all. So this is a good time where I can move my slider back a bit and allow for me to see my entire movie. All right, we're at 12 seconds now. And so we've got two videos that are basically beside each other. And if I hit the space bar, okay, so if I put my timeline slider at the start here and I hit space, the movie will play from that point. And I can see that I've just got a straight cut between the two video clips, nothing fancy. Now personally, I don't like when a video just starts from nothing and right away goes into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the transitions menu. I'm going to click that. And inside here, we will be able to see that there are all sorts of pre-made transitions from one clip to another that we can choose from. I want to say one thing. Now, it is totally your own personal preference, but I would try to stay away from the really crazy transitions. They tend to be distracting. But for this one, we're going to go with a simple cross blur. And the way we're going to do that, we just click it, drag it down to the start of the clip. You'll see that little icon that appears with two arrows pointing to each other. And when we preview it, we see that the clip now fades in almost like you're opening your eyes or something. It goes from blurry to clear. In between the New York time-lapse and the drone flyby, we're going to put a cross dissolve. And a cross dissolve is a nice smooth blend between two clips. So I'm going to put that right there. And you'll see now that we got this nice transition from the skyline to the drone shot of the skate park itself. Now, you'll also notice something else happens. If you look at your New York timeline, New York time-lapse clip, it has now become 0.6 seconds. The reason for that is we have 1 second transitions on both sides of the clip, bringing it down to just 0.6 seconds. All right, so you got to be careful with transitions because they do cut into the length of your clip. All right, we're going to add an effect to this clip just to show you how to do it. So I have clicked the clip, I've selected it, it's surrounded in yellow, it tells me it's selected. And I'm going to go up to here where I can do different effects and different adjustments to the clip itself. And I'm going to click this one with the 3 circles, clip filter. And it splits into 2 windows. There's the clip filter and there's an audio effect. So we can affect either the sound of the clip or the clip itself. We're going to affect the clip itself. And we're going to choose black and white. And it gives us a little preview over on the side. We can see how different effects might look. All right, kind of cool. I'm going to go with black and white. Again, you don't want to go with anything too crazy. Okay, so it has now added that effect to our clip. It's black and white. And we're going to continue on with our next shot. Now, the next clip that we want is the one, whoops, I'm in the wrong folder here. Skateboard, there we go. Okay, the next clip that we're going to want to use is this nice little macro shot of the board coming up, and it transitions into this kind of flipping board. All right, that's what we're going to use. We're going to bring that in. But you'll notice that we're starting to get pretty lengthy already. We're at 17 seconds. And so what I might want to do is cut down on the length of my drone flyby that I see right here. But before I do that, I'm going to put a transition. Okay, I'm going to put a cross dissolve in between these two. So I get a nice transition between the flyby overhead into this clip we just added. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten this down because 7.5 seconds is too long, I feel. I'm going to bring it down to 4.5 seconds. So the way you do that, select your clip, go to the end of the clip or the start of the clip, depending on where you want to take that time off. I'm going to take it off the end. And you'll see that the cursor becomes 2 arrows. And I'm going to pull it over so that it becomes 4.5 seconds. All right, nice. Excellent. Okay, at the end of this skate macro video that we just put in, I'm also going to put another cross dissolve at the end of that one. And I'm going to actually cut out the part where it switches to this scene right here, the guy grinding on the edge of that the rail there. So we're going to take that out. We'll just pull that out, pull it back to about 3.3 seconds here. So it ends right there, right as that board's coming around to flip. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to put in our trick 1 video, which is this guy right here doing this little kick flip off the grind that he just did. I'm going to put that in after that video. And you'll see that this is very repetitive, okay, because we're just doing the same sort of thing all the time as we're editing. So I'm going to trim this down to 2.5 seconds. Okay, so we have that. Actually, you know what? Let me put a little more time back in because I'm going to need another cross dissolve after this one. Now, like I said, you don't want to add too many transitions because they get annoying after a while. Most common that you'll see is just straight cuts, and that's what we're going to use from here on in. So we're going to go to 2.5 seconds on this one, and we've got that nice transition right there, cross dissolving into trick 2, which is this shot right here. And I'm going to put that in. And there we go. Once again, I'm going to click it. I'm going to add an effect to this one. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go clip filter. I'm going to use the sci-fi filter for this guy. All right. And you can see that that looks really good. And let me just show you what we've got so far. I'll play it from the beginning. Cross blur, cross dissolve. Okay, a couple seconds of the guy boarding. Macro, board flip, trick 1, trick 2. All right, and it's looking good so far. Now next I'm going to put in another trick. This time I'm not going to put transition in between. I'm going to go with trick 3, which is this guy jumping off the rail. All right, so let's just get him in there. Boom. Once again, you can see that my timeline is starting to get pretty long here, so I can always zoom out a click if I want. Or I could stay zoomed in and I can use the scrolly wheel on the mouse just to move around. Now one thing we notice about this one is that we've got some sound. So if I play it, I've got some sound that plays when I play the clip. So what I'm going to do to take out that sound is I'm going to pull this bar down to adjust the volume all the way down to 0. So when you're adjusting your sound, you can bring it up or down with this bar below the video. All right, now I can also make an adjustment up here with this little volume editor, and you can go auto so that it adjusts the volume for all your clips so they sound like they were recorded at the same time, or you can just use the slider here to adjust the bar the same way. Okay, so that's nice. So we're going to leave that at 0. We don't want any sound in our original clips. Okay, I'm also going to trim this video down by about a second. I'm going to bring it down to 2.3 on the end of this video. So we're now at 2.3 seconds on that. Let's add our next trick. Trick 4. Select the whole video, put it in. There it is. This one has sound. We're going to take it out quickly. We're also going to take a little bit off the front of this video. Just as he approaches the jump right there. We're going to take a little off the end as well. We're going to bring this clip down to 1 second right there. Okay, so we got just that part where he does that trick. Nice. Next trick. We're going to add this one. It's a 3.4 second video. And I like how it ends with him jumping on that rail and landing, but I want to take a little off the front end because it's a little lengthy. So we're going to bring it down to 2.4 seconds. Now you can see a lot of the edits I'm doing here are very repetitive. Putting them together, adding transitions, adding effects, whatever I want to do to it. But basically just kind of stringing them together in an order that looks good. The last trick here before we get into something else is this guy jumping down the rail. Okay? And he kind of just rides away from us. All right? And what I'm going to do here is I am going to put a transition, since that's the last trick. It's going to be a cross dissolve. And let's just take a look at what we've got so far. We got a 25-second video. We'll press play. Okay. Skyline. Drone shot for a couple seconds there. Switches into macro. Board flip. First trick. Second trick. Straight cuts. Third trick. Fourth trick. Fifth trick. And sixth trick. Now it fades to black because we don't have anything at the end here. But what we want to do is we want to add a white background. Now you see up here you got this option for backgrounds. Nice. I'm going to click that. Some of these ones up here are really weird. I don't ever use them. I guess they can be handy if you're showing, you know, distance between two places, maybe like you're flying in an airplane or something. But we're just going to use the straight colored backgrounds that are down here. So I'm going to use white. I'm going to just drag it into the end. And you'll see now that that end transitions into white beautifully. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to create titles. And titles are nice because we can add logos, we can add pictures or whatever we want to add into our video, but we can also add text. So up at the top, we're going to click titles, and you'll see that iMovie comes with all sorts of pre-made titles. Now, it gives you a little preview as you drag over them as to what the title is going to do, how it's going to animate, but you can change the text, you can change the size of the font, so you can change it a bit, so you have a little bit of control over that. But what we're going to do is we're going to choose the expand, and I'm going to select it, and I'm going to actually drop it above the white background, like that. Okay, we want it to start as soon as the white background shows up. Keep in mind you can trim these exactly the same that you can a video clip, so I can shorten it or lengthen it just by dragging the end of it to make it shorter or longer. Okay, I'm going to actually make this 1.7 seconds long. Now, right now the white text is on a white background, so we can't actually read it. So what we have to do is double click the title so it becomes editable, and now we select our text, and in caps I'm going to put just do it. All right, pretty famous motto from a pretty famous company. And I'm going to change the color up here to black. All right, and so now we have black text on a white background, and we can change our font here if we want. I'm going to leave it as Avenir, and I'm going to click the little checkbox right here to apply it. And you'll see now that when it switches to white, just do it comes up, it slowly expands like that. And iMovie automatically adds a fade in and a fade out at the end of the title's length. All right, nice. Next, we want to actually add an image, and we're going to put in a logo. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the logo, and again, I take no credit for the logo I'm using. It is a Nike logo, but I want to show you it is a PNG file. And you'll notice that when I preview it, I've got a gray background behind it. The reason we're using a PNG is it allows us to put transparency into the images that we're using. So if I drag the PNG into iMovie above the white background, it does some weird thing. It adds a little animation. We're going to get rid of that in a second. But if I put it over the video clips, you'll notice that that background does not exist. And that's the power of PNG. You can take out backgrounds, you can make them clear, and they look great when you use them in videos. All right, so let's adjust the length of our PNG like so. And we want to actually line it up close to the end. We're going to go 1.7. So we have a little bit of a fade out to white at the end. But you'll notice we got this really weird animation that happens in iMovie automatically. The way to get rid of that is to click your image, go up to the top, go to the first one called Overlay Settings, and set it to Picture in Picture. Next, go to the Cropping Settings and set it to Fit. Now, go back to the Overlay Settings, and you'll be able to move your image around. You'll also be able to scale it to whatever size you want. So we're going to center that logo, and we're going to just preview it. Remember to hit the checkbox, because sometimes it doesn't take if you don't do that. And you'll notice now it goes just do it. It fades out. Nike logo comes in. We also want to add the website for Nike. And we're going to go with a standard title. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our title, we're going to drag it over top of that image with the logo. I'm going to shorten it up so it's the same length as the logo's length. And you'll notice that this title is really weird. It's got text right over top, but I found a little trick to where you can just use one. I'm going to double click to edit, and all I'm going to do is backspace or delete the text out of the other two and just use the one down here. I'm going to put www.nikesb.com. I'm going to set that text color to black. All right. And that way, very quickly and easily, we have added the logo with the website, and they fade out more or less at the same time, which is nice. Fade in and fade out at the same time. So that's great. Now let's do a little playback of what we've got so far. Starting to look like something. Here we go. Some of the transitions might be a little slow because they have to render. But you can see that it goes together pretty nicely. There's a few little weird jumps in the videos, but generally speaking, it looks pretty decent. All right, and it goes away with that. Now, what would a video be if it didn't have some sound? Obviously, we need some sound to make it interesting. One thing I want to mention is I'm at 29 seconds right now. I'm going to increase the white background just a touch till I get to 30 seconds. Now, you might be asking why. In video, if this was an actual commercial, we would have a 30-second time slot on TV. And so we would want to kind of work around that 30-second time limit and fill it up as best as possible. Next, we're going to bring in a sound. Now, I could use the audio here, and it'll look in my actual audio library, but what I've got over here is just an MP3 of some music that I'm going to drag into my video. Now, the thing with audio is it always goes below your video. If you look down here, sound goes below. All right, now that's for music or voice overlays. We're just going to drag it down there. And you'll notice now it becomes a green bar down below our video. You'll also notice that this particular clip goes way beyond the length of our video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it back just like a video clip or anything else so that it matches the ending of our video. All right, there we go. You'll also notice some of these waves go outside of what they call the tolerable level of our speakers, so I can adjust that and keep it just below that sound, that maximum sound. I could also use the auto button up here if I wanted to adjust the audio levels automatically. Now, let's take a look at what we've got. Now, that sounds good. It looks like it lines up nicely. But you'll notice that the music just starts and stops very sharply. We want it to fade out the same way that our that our video fades out. So down here in our audio timeline, we've got this little button here. It looks like a circular, a white circle with a black dot in the middle. We can use that to fade our audio in and out. So I'm going to go with about a half a second on the end and about a half a second on the front end. And that's going to give us a much quieter sort of fade in with the sound. Maybe I'll go a little longer on the beginning, 0.6. All right, so that was pretty quick, but let's say we feel like we're done with this video. And again, this is just an intro video. You're probably going to make things way more complicated than this. When you are done, it is time to export your video. And I want to show you a few things because it's not really straightforward with how it handles this. You're going to go to File, you're going to go to Share, and you go File once again. We're going to call it whatever we want. I'm going to call it Skateboard. And you'll see here that we have an estimation on how big it's going to be. We can set our resolution. This was shot in 720. The quality is high. And we're going to compress it. We could go better quality, but it's going to take way longer. So we can do all that. Now, I'm going to just click down here. I'm going to do that one more time because that sounds like a pretty small file for the length of time. So let's do it again. Share, File. Okay, that's better. Skateboard, and description can be skateboard. All right, and 720 high, compress faster. We're going to hit next. It's going to ask you where you want to put it. I'm going to just put it to the desktop. We're going to hit save. Now this is the part where it looks like it's done and you just close the program, get out of it, and it's finished. But what iMovie's actually doing in the background, as you can tell over here at the top right, there's a little clock that appears. And it's telling you that it is creating the file. It's very important that you don't close iMovie until that's finished processing. Otherwise, you won't have a movie to watch in the end. I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to come back as soon as this is done processing. Okay, and that was actually pretty quick. So the video is done processing. We don't see the clock in the corner anymore. And on our desktop here where I told it to save, we now see a file. So let's watch the final video in its HD entirety, and then we'll wrap up. All right, here we go. All right, so not bad. Again, it didn't take very long to do that. If you have great footage to start with, it's a heck of a lot easier to create a good video in the end. Hopefully that helps. Again, I am not sponsored by Nike or anything like that, simply for educational purposes only, so that it can help you with iMovie. If you found that helpful, make sure you comment below or subscribe. Till next time, see you again.